Ever since the announcement of the 1.35 DLC and all of the rebalancing that has happened for the various bigger nations in 1.35, there's been a little bit of talk in the EU4 community. We could call it a little bit of drama, where a lot of people have been thinking that the big nations are going to get insanely overpowered, especially considering what new flavor and mechanics they're getting, whilst the rest of the nations are going to be easy pickings. So basically what I'm saying is Ottomans, France, Russia, Ming, etc. are going to be too powerful to take on, especially in multiplayer games. And while that drama has finally been answered by Paradox themselves, they mention at the start of this particular dev diary exactly what we need to know about it, and it's actually really important, so pay close attention to this. We also have a massive rebalance of the idea groups and a lot of other things in this dev diary, so honestly this is probably the most consistent out of all of them when it comes to the basic mechanics for the game, coming with the new DLC as well as a lot of other stuff in it. So honestly guys, stick around for a bit. This is gonna affect everybody if you play EU4, and I really think that you should be aware of these things. So they do start off here saying that we want to address the concern around power creeping, i.e. big nations being too strong in 1.35 that has been discussed in the community in the past weeks. So they are aware, they read the forums, they read your comments, guys. That's what makes them such an amazing company in my personal opinion, because they do cater to the player base and they do know what's going on. They're not oblivious and they just do whatever they want, right? The content we showcase in development diaries is usually a rough form, not just from the perspective of numbers, but also from what bonuses they offer. QA, beta testing, etc. shapes and changes the content vastly over the coming weeks. And they go on to mention a few other things here, that with the Ottomans, France, Japan, and every other great power that was previously showcased, we've taken great steps towards rebalancing, snipping bonuses, nerfing, and even changing out modifiers completely. So they are trying to tune up the modifiers and the bonuses and the mechanics coming in 1.35, so that not all of these new countries that are getting the content are super powerful. Everybody else is just schnapple duping, you know. They showcase some of these changes in today's dev diary, but keep in mind, by the moment that the DLC is going to come out, and we don't know when that is, maybe April, maybe earlier, who's to say, maybe later, you never know, right? Depends on how fast they manage to get everything done. Whenever that comes out, it's going to be a lot more balanced, a lot more redefined, and they are also looking for your feedback, and they've made a lot of these changes in today's dev diary based on comments that you guys left either on my videos, other creator videos, the forums, Reddit, wherever. PDX knows, they listen and they watch your comments, so keep doing what you're doing. Whether you comment here and let them know or on the forums, doesn't matter. They will be more than happy to know what your opinion is, because end of the day, we love this game, all of us. That's why we play it, and that's why Paradox also wants to make a good product, because they of course also love what they're doing and the game. Most of the development team at this point is made out of people that started playing the EU4, modding EU4, and from modders they actually got hired by PDX. So for them it really is a work of love, right? Because they do love working on the game that they absolutely adore playing as well. So they showcase here that with the new government mechanics available in Domination, they've added a purple box, basically this thing over here. Now it is a little bit different based on what exactly you're playing as, what country you're playing as. So we can see down here, for example, the Ottoman Decadence, the one that we have showcased above, is this one here. Then the Ottoman Devshirme is going to be a little bit different. So you have these three icons shown over instead of the three big gates or doors, whatever these are. Then it's like that, also replaced when the Russian table of ranks is applied, when the Russian rule is applied, Russian tsardom and modernization, also Spanish system of councils, Japanese land of the Christian sun, new Prussian militarization. Man, this makes me so happy, honestly. I'm really looking forward to play as Prussia in 1.35. I honestly think I'm gonna do a Prussia video first, or maybe a Spain video and then a Prussia video. Let's see. Following up on your feedback for Prussian militarization, we went ahead and tweaked it a little bit, removed the land force limit, replaced it with land maintenance modifier, DK half in tier 2 and 3. Now this is something that I've seen also you guys commenting in my previous video about Prussia and on the forums as well, that the DK is way too fast, and I actually agree with you on that. It was way too fast. Now they halved it, so that means it is still significant, but at least now it's actually worth investing your points in militarization. Before, honestly, considering the DK was so fast, it was not even worth investing. Now it's worth it, but mostly when you're actually going to be going to war, because even at half a tier 2 and 3, it's still significant. But they did say that they added a countermeasure to slow down loss of mobilization, or better yet, militarization. I don't know what this DK countermeasure is, but if it's something that, say for example, counteracts it by, if you have a specific thing, it increases militarization militarization rather than lowering it, so this way it balances out the decay, then that's worth it. It means it might actually be worth going for full militarization, but it really depends what the countermeasure is. Would be nice if, for example, having high army tradition increases your militarization. It would make sense too. So this way you want to strive for a lot of combat, a lot of wars, so you always have 100 army tradition. Say for example, if 100 army tradition evens out the decay or covers 75% of the decay, right, then that would be fair, because getting 100 army tradition is not easy in the game. So it really means that you would actually be having to gun for that particular modifier throughout the entire campaign, right? Militarization interactions also cost 20 militarization instead of 50. Now, a lot better as well, because 50 militarization is a huge amount at the end of the day, right? That's like what, 250 mil points? I don't know. I'm really bad with maths. We also see here the rebalance for the mercenary militarization that the Swiss have, the Korean perfectionist icon, parliament versus monarchy for the English parliament, the shogunate also, albeit not a part of the domination DLC, has gotten a little bit of a revamp here, well, new coat, let's say, and we see the interactions here. They also mentioned starting off with non-domination related content. Let's check out the base game. So, as you know, there's going to be some new idea groups added in domination. That means we get new policies as well, and a lot of the old idea groups have been rebalanced, so pay close attention, because this will affect the game for the remainder of time. I'm 100% sure 1.36, 1.37, or whatever else is going to come after, if there's going to come anything after, is not going to change anything here anymore, because this is a big change. It influences the whole game, and it's something that PDX likely will not want to open up again in the nearby future. And let's face it, maybe 1 to 2 years is the remainder of EU4 before EU5 comes out. So my honest opinion, take a close look at what I'm talking about here, the new idea groups and the policies, and then write down in the comments what your opinion is, what you think should be changed, what you think is too powerful, too nerfed, and so on, because we want to have a perfect idea groups and policies launched with 1.35, just in case it's never going to get changed again, okay? So one of the new idea groups here, the infrastructure ideas, this is what it's going to look as of now. This might change, remember. The bonus for unlocking all the ideas is going to be the development cost minus 10%. Then we get prosperity growth as well as state maintenance as the first unlock. Then construction cost minus 10%. Expand infrastructure 25% reduction. That's pretty good actually. Movement speed and center of trade upgrade cost really good as well. State governing cost a little bit less, but I get it. It's not supposed to be too strong, right? Port maintenance minus 25% is decent. Build time minus 25% and expand administration cost minus 10%. Wait, no. Expand administration cost minus 100%? One? That would actually make infrastructure ideas worth it in my opinion. Like everything here is average, but the development cost, the bonus is good, and the expand administration, if it makes it free, then it's actually really good. Might make it worth it as a first initial idea set then, depending on the policies, of course. Next up is the court ideas, also added with 1.35, a brand new idea set. Now the bonus is based on whatever your government type is, either legitimacy, republican tradition, and so on. The first one unlocked is the insult power projection doubles estate loyalty equilibrium plus 10%, and loyalty change on revoke is 0.05, so that's really decent. Prestige plus 1, reform progress growth plus 20% is my favorite here. Monthly splendor 2, so. Estate possible privileges, not bad. Estate interaction cooldown modifier minus 20%, also really decent. Possible diplo policies and monarch diplo power plus 1, really good. So I like court ideas. I think it's balanced. I don't think it's overpowered. I think it's probably the most balanced out of the new ones I've seen so far, but it is a little bit situational, so I wouldn't necessarily say that it would be my go-to first idea set overall. They also mentioned that the respected authority also carries a unique mechanic that reduces absolutism loss for every estate privilege by 20%. Okay, that's interesting. That actually makes it a good idea to take later down the line before you unlock absolutism in the 1600s, right? And I'm guessing that's the point. It doesn't have to be an initial idea, it can be down the line, right? Mercenary idea is one of the new military idea groups. Gives mercenary discipline plus 5 and amount of condottieri plus 100%. Mercenary cost 25% reduction. Military advisor cost reduction 25% is really good. Mercenary independent from trade range. Yes, that means you would be able to recruit mercenaries from all over the world, I suppose, as long as you see the province of origin, I'm guessing, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense for you to recruit mercenaries from the New World in 1444 in Europe, right? Well, not 1444. You have to unlock this. But my point is that I'm guessing you still have to have discovered the origin province. You just don't have the limit for trade range, which is nice. It's a nice touch. This is really flavorful here, I have to say. And that's a recurrent theme with the new DLC and the new patch. The patch itself aims at adding more flavor, more replayability to the game, and it's doing an amazing job in my opinion. Like seriously, massive kudos to the entire team at Paradox Tinto. They've really put a lot of heart and soul in this DLC for sure. You also get mercenary maintenance modifier minus 25%, military tech cost modifier minus 10%, war tax cost modifier 50%, and mercenary leader army tradition 50. So that means you can essentially have with the age ability free war taxes in the early part of the campaign if you're going to take your military ideas, or sorry, mercenary ideas as your first military idea set. You also get for the entire army infantry combat ability plus 10% right here. Infantry power means that, and mercenary manpower, as well as allow mercenary drill. Wow, so you can actually drill with mercenaries, and I'm guessing get professionalism. That's pretty cool. We decided to remove the ability to split mercenaries because it led to impossible situations. Basically, it led to some desync and stuff, but you can still do it if you want to mod it in. It's available for modders. Just keep that in mind. It probably wouldn't be the best for multiplayer. Religious ideas have some changes as well. 10% manpower and true faith provinces will be given from church attendance duty. And for economic ideas, the bonus is not development cost reduction anymore. It is global trade goods size modifier. The first to unlock this 15% tax increase. Then you go inflation reduction, production efficiency plus 10%, and it's thought about, this is not confirmed, the mechanic get +1 development from building manufactories. This is not confirmed. This is something they're probably thinking about. That's why it's hashtagged over here. Gold depletion chance modifier minus 25% is pretty decent. Land maintenance minus 5%. Interest minus 0.05. And merchants, 1 extra merchant. Honestly, the economic ideas without the dev cost reduction, in my personal opinion, is pretty lacking. It's not bad. It's definitely not a first or even a second admin idea that I'd be going for anymore though. I say personally they should change some of this, or not necessarily change, but buff it up somehow. Maybe add something as a secondary modifier to one of these. Say trade efficiency a little bit for merchants next to it, like a 5%, just a little bit of a buff. Because realistically speaking, you were taking economic ideas to get the dev cost reduction to play toll. Now that that's out of the table, what would happen is people would take trade ideas, because you would actually make a lot more money from trade after you unlock the full trade ideas, because you get 3 extra merchants, meaning you can filter in a lot more trade, collect a lot more. The other bonuses from the trade ideas are insane as well. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings about the new economic ideas. I feel like they are a little bit too underwhelming in my opinion. Admin ideas got the core creation cost reduction moved to slot 3 now. That's the third one unlocked. Governing capacity bonuses nerfed to 20% instead of 25%. Expansion and exploration idea also saw some changes here. I'll let you read through all of these. They're not massive. The biggest idea is that they're trying to make expansion, as they mentioned here, focus on the American colonization, whereas exploration, it's basically general exploring and going into Africa and beyond, i.e. Asia. Humanist idea saw some changes too. We got idea cost minus 10% once you unlock the entire idea set. Unrest minus 2 and harmonization speed as you first unlocked. Years of nationalism minus 10. That is huge. A lot less separatists now. Tolerance of heretics. Number of accepted cultures 2. Religious unity plus 20% now. Improved relations plus 30%. And tolerance of heretics capacity and heathens capacity plus 1. That's really nice actually. That means it's gonna make for some easier world conquest if you don't want to do a one faith world conquest. Espionage idea saw some changes too. Rebel support efficiency plus 100% and spy action cost modifier minus 20%, meaning it takes 20% less spy network to do the various actions as your bonus. You can transfer vassals war goal now as your first unlocked and can claim states. Aggressive expansion minus 20% as the second. Spy offense siege ability. Extra diplomats and advisor cost. Global spy defense yearly corruption reduction. Capture ship chance 25% and privateering plus 33, as well as you get some vassalization acceptance and monthly flavor modifier. I have to say that honestly espionage is not as bad anymore. I don't want to say buff it anymore because it's already received quite a lot of buffs, but truth be told, it's still pretty much aimed at very specific countries, or if you're role playing as something. So maybe instead of buffing espionage, what they could do to make this viable is give it a really good policy, like espionage with aristocratic gives 5% dev cost reduction. Then that would actually make it super worth, not even joke. Now what worries me a little bit is this here, what they mentioned, can claim states is now a modifier as well. Why I say it worries me a little bit is because indirectly being able to claim the entire state rather than just a province of that state kind of negates the Russian ability, right? I like it that it's available for everybody, but then maybe they should change that in the Tsardom government so that you don't have the ability to claim states, or you do have the ability to claim states but buff something else as well, because then having this and the Russian government ability at the same time means that it's useless for the Russians, right? I don't know, mixed feelings about it. I like it. I like the changes to espionage. I really do. Aristocratic ideas also have leader siege 1 and nobility loyalty as well as Rajput loyalty as the bonus. You get cavalry combat ability 15% as the first unlocked. Manpower and dev cost same as they are right now, I think. Cavalry to infantry ratio increase. Cavalry cost minus 20%. Army tradition decay. Diplomats general cost. I think these are all the same, aren't they? Fabricate claim cost reduction. Unjustified demands minus 25%. Global autonomy reduction and yearly absolutism increase. They mention here the biggest change here is the breaking down the strong cavalry idea and adding the cost to fabricate claim reduction as well as unjustified demand. This one right here, the rightful conquest is the new bit basically. Defensive ideas have seen some changes. You now get hostile attrition as well as maximum hostile attrition +1. So it goes above the cap, which should still be 5. So you would have 6 maximum attrition for enemies if you fully unlock defensive ideas. The rest is fairly similar. You get morale of armies 15%, army tradition, defensiveness, fort maintenance, etc, etc. Defensive ideas have received a revamp in their policies as well. Now many of them focus on more worthwhile aspects of the game. Right now the defensive ideas is still pretty trash in my opinion, but let's see what the policies say and then we'll make up our mind afterwards, right? Quantity ideas, we have elected to increase the manpower force limit a bit to 33% each finally, because in 1.34 quantity is not worth it anymore personally in my opinion. 33% force limit manpower makes a lot more sense since it's quantity ideas. It got a big nerf before from 50 to 25 and I feel like 33% is a good balance, so glad to see this added in as well. And they want to hear our thoughts on this, so let me know in the comments. I'm also curious to see what you guys think about this. Also guys, if you watched all the way until here and you're not yet subscribed, consider subscribing. Would really mean the world to me. Encourage me to make more videos like these. Once we reach 200,000 subs, I plan on doing a mega campaign all the way from Imperator Rome into Stellaris. All the PDX games basically. Defensive ideas policies with the other idea sets. I'm just gonna show you guys this here. You can read it yourself. I'm gonna mention the ones that are worthwhile in my opinion, which for example include economic idea, public welfare, stability cost modifier reduction, but development cost in primary cultures minus 10% is not bad. It is situational and it only affects your primary culture, meaning you would have to go for one faith, one culture moment right there, but it makes it worth it and it makes it easier to develop your provinces even though you didn't go for a meta playing toll idea set. So I like to see that. I hope to see more of these policies in the other idea groups, right? Land attrition and war exhaustion with humanist is also pretty decent. Diplomatic ideas give you an extra 1 diplomat and improve relations. Merchants and trade steering I think is the same, right? That it was already in with the trade ideas. Aggressive expansion impact and morale damage received minus 10% is huge with court ideas, and that's about it. The other ones are underwhelming in my personal opinion. Attrition for enemies +1 here with religious is useless unless it also increases the maximum attrition, because realistically in most situations armies will be at the maximum capacity attrition with +5 anyway, so pointless, especially during winter and so on, and during big engagements in the mid to late game, right? Which is when these policies are going to come into effect. Mercenary policies we see here. Again, I'll let you go through the entire thing. I'm gonna mention the ones that I personally like marine force limit +10%. If you didn't go for any idea or you don't have any idea that lets you recruit marines, having marines from your policies is pretty cool. Being able to build supply depots and mercenary maintenance minus 20% with admin ideas is huge because it rules out a lot of attrition you'd be getting when you have bigger battles and bigger stacks. And force march at no power with expansion idea is insanely good, as well as the ability to create client states with influence ideas is an RP thing. Not really good because client states as of right now are not really anything special, but it's a good RP thing. And with diplo ideas you get +2 diplo relations is huge, especially if you're doing a world conquest, as is the morale of armies with religious ideas and the missionary strength, meaning if you go mercenary and religious it would make for a pretty fun playthrough. Court idea policies we have as well here. War score versus other religions is good, but it's only 5%, so it's not too big, it's not too powerful. Average monarch lifespan +25% and no stability loss on monarch death is huge with innovative ideas, as is the manpower with aristocratic. I can already see a little bit of a meta here with court ideas and aristocratic. Honestly, most of these are actually really freaking good. I feel like court is really great when it comes to the policies. Morale damage received, aggressive expansion impact -10 with defensive, as we saw earlier in the defensive bit. Special unit force limit, army professionalism, morale damage with offensive, reform progress growth with plutocratic, reduction for infantry cost and artillery cost, aggressive expansion monthly federation favor with the indigenous ideas, production efficiency, cost of advisor with ruler's culture with economic as well as really good, aggressive expansion creation again with horde ideas, and court creation costs with admin. I really like court ideas. I really genuinely like court policies, not ideas. Infrastructure policies now have some decent ones like the diplomatic idea 1, years of personal union integration -10, as well as diplo reputation +1. Provincial trade power +25 is huge with politicratic. Movement speed and artillery level available versus fort with offensive is la creme de la creme, my boys. This is going to be super powerful, especially in multiplayer games. Development cost reduction with indigenous ideas is interesting, very interesting to say the least, especially since indigenous ideas already offers some development cost policies with some other idea sets, right? Unless that was changed. Global trade power and goods produced with trade. Holy snaps, man. I like these a lot as well. And allows claim bordering claim with influence. It's good that it targets the idea sets that most likely will be picked first. It makes those really interesting and really strong because it makes it a lot more varied, and now it's not very straightforward what exactly you should be going for, really, and it's more situational based on whatever you want from your particular game. They also mentioned the AI is now more proficient in picking and combining idea groups based on a multitude of factors such as how militaristic their national ideas are, what their current mana generation of ruler air etc is, how threatened they are by a neighbor, how defensive their terrain might be, what other idea groups they pick in order to get better policy combos. They also show off some of the new ideas events related to the new idea sets. So we have here with the infrastructure ideas, we get movement speed for a certain amount of years. I guess it's 10 years as long as we pay 100 admin points. The court ideas offers this event here. All of the excess prestige, so that's 10 prestige, will be converted into monarch points if you have 100 prestige, and you get 50 splendor. Mercenary idea event gives you years of separatism and aggressive expansion impact. That is massive. Whoa, this is really good if you're going to go into HRE actually. So it's going to make a lot easier to unify the HRE. Apparently, each new idea group will come with 10 new events equally split between positive and negative. And we also see the units with their final pips and final names. Apparently, I'm not sure if we can still rebalance this or not because it says final, but this is what it looks like. Starting from the first Hoofnist and large cast bronze mortar, you can see there's a pretty clear divide between purpose here, whether it's offensive or just a little bit of each basically. It will make it a lot more interesting and a lot more situational, and it's good that they did this because before it was really just you're gonna pick the better one and that's it, and it's never gonna be a bit of a challenge to figure out which one's better, which one's not, right? They also show up the new tier 5 military government reforms. Majority of these are free, they say, and this is what they look like with the icons and everything, doctrines and organization. Looking forward to see this actually. They mentioned that given the scope of the reforms spanning nearly the entire globe, you won't see them all by picking just one country. This is what Switzerland sees, for example. So basically you will see different reforms based on the country that you're playing as. It is gonna make it for a very unique game, that's for sure. Imagine you got way more reforms in this tier here, and they're very different based on what your culture is or what your tag is and so on, right? There's new privileges as well introduced for free with 1.35, and these are the free ones. The clerical inward focus, which offers monthly war exhaustion, tolerance of the true faith, mercantile guilds, crown possession. Remember, all of these cost 5% crown loans, keep that in mind. That offers trade power based on the size of your burger estate, as well as trade range, demi self-governance, promoted cultures, and tolerance of heathens, again based on the amount of crown loans that your demis have, and autonomy of the tribes that offers religious unity. They've also added new traits to generals, admirals, and even rulers, which will be part of the base game, not a part of the DLC, so these are free for everybody. General personality traits include 10% cavalry combat ability, 10% morale damage, minus 10% morale damage received, and 2.5 discipline, as well as 50% drill DK. Holy snaps, strict drill master is probably going to be my favorite one, especially if you're playing a multiplayer. Most people will be basically drilling non-stop right whilst they're at peace, and having this drill DK is going to be a huge deal. Admiral personalities are quite a lot of them actually. Hull size increase, movement speed, number of cannons, morale damage, disengagement chance, pretty cool, and the personalities for your rulers. Morale damage, global unrest -1, which is available apparently to the peasant republics, as well as tech cost and idea cost reduction for patron of the arts. Ooh, that is really good. There's also 7 new great projects, and we will see the tier 3 bonuses that they're going to offer. We got the Aljaferia Palace in Zaragoza, which is going to offer missionary strength, resistance to reformation, harsh treatment, as well as every level of our Inquisitor advisor will grant us -5% establish holy order cost. So that's up to -25% cost for establishing holy order once you fully upgraded this particular monument. Divriji Hospital and Mosque in Divriji is going to give out innovativeness and reinforcement speed. Dulkadiri citizens icons will be less likely to be struck by plagues. Speaking of Dulcadir, I've just made a Dulcadir video. Highly recommend you guys check it out in the description below. Edinburgh Castle and Lothian as well. Looks like the Scots finally getting some flavor that offers attrition for enemies, local defender, dice roll bonus +1, free policies from military and nobility equilibrium. That is pretty freaking huge, man. Holy snaps. And the Grand Canals in the South Jiangsu area. If you improve your monument to magnificent, you get local goods produced +1, local development cost -10%, as well as a little bit of development every time you upgrade it, and unique loyalty equilibrium. The Imperial City of Kyoto is also added, and it offers liberty, desire, and subjects, maximum absolutism, all estates loyalty equilibrium +10%, and you get some mana points for your leaders whenever you upgrade this. The Palace of the Popes in Avignon is also added with the papal influence +2 flat, which is huge. Max privileges for the clergy +1. So with the idea set and with this, you could have what, 8 privileges for the clergy? That's pretty insane. You also will get 1 cardinal assigned in Avignon when you upgrade it, and 50 power projection. Oh, sorry, the papal state gets 50 power projection, my bad. Or is it whoever owns this? I wish I knew the answer to this also, I don't know. You also get the St. Basil's Cathedral in Moscow, tolerance of the true faith, all estate loyalty equilibrium, and cost of advisor with ruler's religion -25%. Flavor events related to Orthodox icons will yield supplementary bonuses. So there's that event that offers you a lot of manpower. It's going to give you even more manpower now, for example. And because of people's feedback taken into account, we decided to dedicate some of our artist time into reworking the visuals for the Wall of Benin to better reflect how they really looked in real life. And this is apparently what they look like in real life. It was basically mud walls, I guess. Not sure if they added any changes to this. For owners of the Golden Century, we have new holy orders. These are the, I guess, final products, unless something else might change in the meanwhile. Pretty decent overall. Glad to see all of this newly added flavor in here. For owners of Rule Britannia, there's some new balances as well for naval policies. We got the Venetian Arsenal, which was rebalanced with the number of cannons modifier and sailors maintenance. The Panoxon also gives ship durability, morale hit from sunken ships. Japanese one, Hanseatic, Ottoman, Maghrebi, Letter of Marque, I don't even know where that is, honestly. Novgorodian, Marine Fraction, and Sailor Maintenance. Wow, okay, that's pretty cool. There's definitely a lot of new naval doctrines added in here. You guys can take a quick glimpse over. And furthermore, there's a rework for the Emperor of China, Mandate of Heaven screen. It looks a lot cooler now, not gonna lie. It reminds me a little bit of the old HRE screen, actually. But look at this. Look at all these celestial reforms we have now. It's absolutely insane, actually, how many we got. And it's gonna make playing as the mandate holder a lot more fun. I'm actually gonna form Qing as Manchu now. I'm not gonna stay as Manchu. Before, I didn't really find any interest in forming Qing because it was very underwhelming. But with this newly added flavor, I'll definitely do a Manchu into Qing run as soon as the DLC comes out. They want to remind us that there's 10 new reforms and decrees if you own the Mandate of Heaven DLC. And there's been some tweaks over to the reformed religion. We got trade efficiency, trade power, goods produced for the focus on trade, morale of armies and navies, and morale damage added for the war. Significant bonuses compared to the previous versions, by the way. Dev cost reduction -10%. Oh my god, okay, this is actually fun. This is a lot of fun. And diplomatic reputation. Yeah, okay, I actually feel like reform now is viable. Before, nobody went reformed religion because it was absolutely trash. But with these changes, it's actually a really good religion. And having only 8 points of fervor, so it's lowered quite a little bit, makes it even better. Would be nice if they add some settler increase as well somewhere here, maybe with the trade or something like that. They mentioned next week there's going to be a lot more issues addressed, a lot more changes. And I have to say that I'm proud to see that they listen to us a lot more than anybody would expect them to. So from my part, massive thank you to the PDX Tinto team. You guys are absolutely amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. We really enjoy your content. And for you guys at home watching right now, thank you very much for watching this video. And until the next time, check out that awesome Dulcadir run I was talking about. And I want to give a massive thank you to all of my patrons, channel members, and Twitch subscribers. I would not be able to do this without all your support.